Hey guys, what's going on? This is Caleb with DevSlopes.com, and I am so unbelievably excited to get into the world of machine learning for apps and products with you. So in the last video, we heard a little brief umbrella overview of what machine learning is. We talked about supervised learning, unsupervised learning, as well as reinforcement learning. But I wanted to give you a little bit more information about just the basics of machine learning. What is the process? What are the steps we need to go through to actually successfully be able to implement machine learning into our apps and projects? And there are 5 main steps. Now, like anything where you have to train something, right? If you're an athlete, if you are, an artist, you have to train, you have to practice and get better and better and better. And machine learning training is no different. The last step of our machine learning process is improvement. So bear in mind that your models will be great at the end of this course, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for added efficiency and added accuracy through what you learn in this course. And that's just something to keep in mind, that we can always be getting better and improving, especially in programming. So I want to talk about the basics of machine learning. And there are 5 main steps, and I'm going to show you them now. Now, the first step is to get data. The cool thing about machine learning is that we can train our own models using data that we can find easily and for free on the internet. I'm going to share with you some amazing resources where you can get very large, robust, amazing data sets that are already labeled and everything for you. I'm going to show you where to get those, where to download them, and then that leads us directly into step 2, prepare data. This is where we're going to go ahead and clean up the data, make sure everything is nicely organized. We're going to remove any irrelevant columns. We're going to organize it, make it look all nice and pretty, just to make sure that it is sorted and organized the way that we want it to. Because we are going to have to import it in a very specific way when creating our machine learning model. Now, once our data is properly cleaned and properly organized, we can do what's called splitting it into a training and a testing subset. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use a majority of the data to train our model. We want the most of the data to be going in to train it on what it should be identifying and recognizing. The other portion is a smaller portion, maybe 10%, maybe 20% of the total amount of data. That's going to be used as a test subset, which leads me into step 3. We're going to use the big chunk of data to train our model. Okay, we're going to expose it to labeled data. So for instance, maybe I was classifying flowers. Okay, I might pass in certain characteristics about a certain flower and then tell it, oh, this is a tulip. I would explicitly tell it using a label. That's training the model, right? Then for the next item, maybe I would have different numbers for a different flower, and then the label would be carnation, right? A different type of flower. And the coolest thing about machine learning is that using its algorithms, it can start to identify patterns using its neural net. And those patterns are what it uses later in step 4 when we pass in the test data. So the test data is passed in without a label at first. The model makes a prediction, and then it's told if it was right or wrong. Okay, so that helps us to get an idea of how accurate our model is. Okay, so we use our test data to ensure that our training was successful. At the very end of a training and testing session, we will get a printout of the accuracy as well as the amount of loss. Okay, now loss is something we're going to talk about later, but basically loss is the amount of elements that were not able to be properly identified. And an accurate machine learning model is going to have a very small amount of loss. The closer to 0, the better. So anyway, we're going to take our model at that point, and we can either use it if we're satisfied with the accuracy, or we can move to step 5, where we improve our model. Okay, maybe we change the data that's going in. Maybe we change how our neural net works. Maybe we add a few more layers of complexity to the neural network to help it identify it better. There are lots of things we can do, but this is the basic structure of how machine learning models are trained. First, we're going to get data. We're going to download a data set from the internet. Second step, we're going to prepare the data. We're going to clean it out, make sure that it's nice and organized and properly labeled. Third, we're going to expose that data to our model and explain to our model what each instance of data is. We're going to train it using our labeled data. Then, step 4, we're going to test that data. We're going to pass in an unlabeled example, see if the prediction was correct, and then compare that against the label from the data. Okay, it's a way that we verify the accuracy of our model. Step 5, of course, is to improve, and that's just kind of a mindset I want you to have in your mind when you're going through this course. There are always ways we can be improving our model. Just like our brain, we can always be getting smarter, learning new things, learning to be quicker at old things. There's lots of ways that we can improve our machine learning models, and that's one of the most fascinating, dynamic, fluid things about machine learning is that you can always be getting better and always improving. That's one thing I love about it. So I hope you're as excited as I am to move on to the next video, where we're going to install an application called Anaconda. And it's going to be a way for us to very easily get into the Python programming language. We're going to be able to install some different environments for Python. We're going to be able to install all kinds of amazing Python frameworks. And then after we get that all set up, we're going to dive into a Python crash course where you're going to learn what you need to know to do machine learning in Python. So let's head over to the next video and let's set up Anaconda.